What time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, von Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah. Keep listening.
Hello and welcome to the Thursday edition of your show right here on YouTube. Also audibly, if you are listening to this program, you can find it anywhere on the audio programming world, including the Amazons and the Apple's casts and the Spotify's and everything in between. It's all there. You can find it and be sure to enjoy it, although you will miss out on a lot of cool things that we do here on your show. The only, as far as we know, still live show from 4 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday right here on YouTube. And we also make up a bunch of fake categories that we are number one in, including today the number one category of having a guy from a TV network talking about NHL hockey games as we celebrate the opening of the NHL season. Number one. Also, number one in the category of shows that always kick off with the greatest cam in the history of all cams, that cam being the Maggie Cam. Let's see what she's up to today. There she is. She's upset now. We got LB on the ones and twos today, and I was trying to get her up on stage to her spot for her big moment, and she wouldn't come, so I pretended to have a treat for her, and she ran over real quick, and then she got really upset when there was no treat. So that is the face of a dog who got denied a treat. She'll have some soon. She's always looking forward to supper time, which is right after the show. The Maggie Cam for our fantastic pals over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. Be on the lookout for an amazing adventure with Maggie video that we are putting out probably, I believe, early next week as she went Halloween shopping over at Pet Planet on 8th Street with her boyfriend Leroy, who actually walked her around with her leash, looking at different types of Halloween toys and or costumes to put on to get ready for the big Halloween coming up in a couple of weeks. And all the love to our friend Mike, who was there as well. Him and Rochelle, the owners of Leroy, who is Maggie's boyfriend. Always the best experience of your life as well. If you go after hours, Kirsten, Shar, or Chris will give you that same incredible service that you come to expect from our friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. Get your dog ready for Halloween. She's so mad. So disappointed. So we got a lot to get to today as we have a bunch of guests on the show, and they've all stopped by sort of throughout the day or two. But yesterday, we're going to kick off with this one because yesterday was a really fun day for us here as we launched a brand new show. It is called Slice by Slice with Asher. He's a local kid, one of my best friends in the world, the great Lane Train, his son, him and his beautiful wife, Megan. And he has been doing pizza review videos now for the last about 6 years. And so in honor of that, we decided to start doing new ones at the start of the month, which you can now go see online at dufferinave.com or to our YouTube page, and you'll see it there, and you can enjoy it and share it with all your friends and see how hilarious and awesome Asher is at what he does. As well, though, we thought we'd get you a little bit of a background on who he is and what's going on. So we are going to play that for you right now. Always exciting around here when we get to start brand new shows, and especially exciting when there's pizza involved, as I am a huge fan of pizza, as you can tell by my weight. That always goes up and down. It's usually because of pizza. But this guy right here, he is an expert. His name is Asher, and his brand new show will be debuting right away here on the Dufferin Avenue Media Network called Slice by Slice with Asher. And what he does is he reviews all these pizzas, and he's been doing it for how many years now?
6.
6 years.
6 probably.
So we have 6 years worth of videos we're going to share with you, as well as one new one every month, showcasing all the amazing pizzas around here. And we did a little recording with this pizza before. If we go top down there, LB, can you give us a quick look at this Pizza Pirates pepperoni? Look at that bad boy. Man, it's good. Now, you already ate some, as we can see.
Yep.
And you had a nice little review. Was it 8.1?
8.1.
8.1 out of 10, which is very, very nice. So congratulations to the Pizza Pirates for doing that. What can people look forward to with this new show that you're taking on?
Well, everybody can interact with the numbers. Yeah,
I like that. So if you're at home and you see your 8.1, You go to Pizza Pirates, try the pepperoni, and maybe yours is a little bit more, and then you guys can have a conversation about it.
Yep.
So that's good. Are you also mostly just looking forward to eating more pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you have any friends that are excited to for you doing this? Like, are they going to join in or be a part of this and make sort of a pizza eating team?
I've told my friends, and I'll probably show a lot of my friends and family, and yeah, I think it'll travel on, and I think people start to see it more. And
there we go. Maybe before we know it, we might get Grandpa and Grandma maybe, or someone maybe supporting you and advertising on your show. Hey, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I would.
As the journey grows. Again, his name is Asher. The show is called Slice by Slice, and that's what we do. What's your catchphrase, bro?
2 bites. Everyone knows the rules.
One on the front and one on the back. That sounds weird. One on the front and one on the crust.
Yeah.
That's the one. All right, dude. Well, thank you very much for introducing yourself to everyone, and I look very, very forward to eating a lot of pizza with you.
Yep. Me
One
too.
more. There we go. So there you go. It's live now, Slice by Slice with Asher. Check it out. It's a really fun little pizza review show, as he's very passionate about pizza, and it shows. And he's very funny too, very witty, very conversational, which we really appreciate around here. So enjoy Slice by Slice with Asher, the newest show here on the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. As we continue, I want to say hello again to our buddy Dax and the team over at PropertyGuys.com. They're doing a lot of great things out there. See, avoiding unfair commission since 1998. Give that number a call, and they'll be sure to help you out. Thursdays here have become sort of a regular spot for our next guest. He is from CTV. His name is Matt Young, and he is now here to get you ready for the NHL, season. Take it away, LB. Thursdays keep getting better because this guy keeps showing up. His name is Matt Young from CTV.
Good
Welcome
to see ya.
back, my friend. How are we today?
Oh, doing fantastic. It's been a busy week because, as I think we mentioned to viewers last week,
you're everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
Yes.
So assignment editor at CTV and doing obviously news reporting or assigning or sometimes hosting news programs. And then also I do play-by-play for the Saskatchewan Huskies. I do some WHL, Regina Patzer Blades, and then I also do the Hilltops. So last weekend, the Saskatchewan Huskies were home to the Manitoba Bisons, and they won. They defeated the Manitoba Bisons, who were undefeated coming into that game.
Absolutely.
So they were the first team to beat the Manitoba Bisons on the gridiron this year. So I was in the booth for that game, called it. Then actually went to Regina to do a Regina Rams football game at Mosaic Stadium in their booth, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, man, that's it, dude.
I mean, that's
the one.
That's where the Riders play. So Regina Rams lost that game. They played against Calgary. But the Huskies football team, don't look now. They've won 2 in a row. They're surging. And it like,
at
you know
the
what
right
they
time,
say?
too.
That's what I was going to say. This is the right time to get hot.
Yeah, they're like the Mets in baseball, baby.
That's
Just
exactly.
come in hot and see what happens.
Well, their next game is at Griffith Stadium here in a couple weeks against the Regina Rams. Always a big rivalry there.
Love rivalry games.
And then Huskies hockey starts this weekend, so I'll be doing some of their games. Of course, Hilltops playoffs start on Sunday. I'll be doing the broadcast for them, and they're playing the Edmonton Huskies. So Hilltops, I mean, it's sort of that time of year where everything's going at once, but we always have time for gaming.
This is what we do.
And I thought since the NHL started this week, did you know that?
I did.
NHL?
Yes, sir.
We would kind of talk a little bit about our favorite NHL games from years gone by. So
happy right now.
on the screen right now, you can see it. We got ice hockey. Remember ice hockey? I love it.
That was so good.
was awesome.
In my head, I'm like, are we going the whole thing?
We're going the whole thing.
That's
So
it.
it is. So that was. You could pick the little guy, the big guy,
medium,
kind of the
medium
medium-sized
guy.
guy, and then you'd have the goalies. And it was only 4 players on the ice for each team, which was kind of weird. It was international teams.
That's
it was
it.
like Canada, the United States. They had the
Russia.
Soviet Union
You get them
back
all
then.
in there,
And they had. So that was a really fun game. A lot of hours spent playing ice hockey. It's
Absolutely.
a classic, an absolute classic.
Yeah.
And then, of course, most people will remember Blades of Steel.
Blades of
Steel.
Dun, 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 dun,
And
dun,
I
dun,
remember,
dun,
like, when I
dun,
played this
dun,
game,
dun,
when I...
dun, dun. I was going to just do the voice under when you talked. There you go.
You could
Yeah.
do
I
that,
was going
actually.
I was going for it.
When
It's okay.
I played,
We love these intros.
there was my one buddy when I was growing up, I could never beat him.
There's
like
always one.
ever.
Yeah.
Like I lose like 9 games in a row. You go sleep over at your buddy's house. You play Blades of Steel, and
So
I
angry.
could never win. And he was always Chicago. I don't know if maybe he found a trick to him,
There's
but
a cheat code there.
Blades of Steel was always good. That was one of the first games that had voicing in it.
Yes. Face
Remember?
off.
And you penalty shot.
Yes, penalty
One in
shot.
a while you get a penalty shot.
And the fighting.
But
Yeah.
the gameplay was good. The fighting is classic.
That's
right?
it. I've always said, if as far as best hockey games like ever, not just for the Nintendo ever, go. Everyone always says Blades of Steel because they remember the fighting and stuff, but I've always been an ice hockey guy because
I
the
loved
actual
ice hockey.
gameplay of the ice hockey, you can raise the puck and you can
Yeah.
do a lot more cool stuff.
Yep. And the fighting in ice hockey was just
Still
kind of
very-
weird.
it's
It was
a
like,
brawl.
It's like a spin around.
Yeah, it's a little crapshoot.
And
Everyone
then,
just
of course,
gets in a brawl.
Ice hockey was when you'd have 3 Zamboni drivers.
Yes.
Right? Blades of Steel, they only got one. By the way, I said to Clayton Kroker, who
I love him.
evaluates Zambonis.
He's on today.
He should evaluate the Zamboni driver in Blades of Steel. Did he
Kroker.
miss a spot?
Kroker.
I mean, he looked pretty good to me, but you got to ask him that.
It's tough to miss with 3, hey? That's the thing. If you
Yeah.
got 3 bonies going, it might be a
And
little
they had
hard
the
to miss a
goalie
spot.
masks,
Yeah,
and oh
very
man,
good.
so that was always fun. Now, of course, as the years went on, and by the
Look
way,
at
this
this.
is an official Nintendo travel bag. From
We
like
love
the 1980s.
all of our old school stuff here.
So you started to get into Sega Genesis, so you would get.
He's got them all.
Remember NHL hockey? This is one of the first EA Sports games. Kids these days,
They'll never know.
Kids these days, this was one of the first. So it didn't have players, but it had teams.
Yes.
And this has the old Minnesota North Stars.
Yeah.
Right. So
You
that
can
was
have,
for
look, right down there on the
for
back. they got all
Sega
the teams
Genesis.
on.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so this was a really fun game to play. So that was kind of the first big EA Sports one. And now, of course, 30 years later, they're still going.
You
Right.
got Shell now.
So yeah. So this
That's
was
amazing that you have
Sega
that.
Genesis.
And there
I still
it
got
is.
the manual.
Look at
actually.
this.
Look at that. By the way, back in the day, games came with manuals because you couldn't look it up on the internet because
There was
no internet.
Yeah. And a lot of times that's where you get your codes and your cheats
That's
from. is
where you
'cause
get
people
your
would write
codes
them
and
in
cheats
those-
and
instructions.
even codes and cheats don't really exist anymore. I mean, I loved going through the code book
amazing.
and like,
Yeah.
oh man, this makes everybody turn blue, or
Dude,
something
Game
like
Genie
that. Game
and, like,
Genie,
Nintendo Power
Game
would have
Genie,
stuff, and
Yeah,
yeah.
Nintendo Power. So
All
we
those
got
stuff.
that, and then. Of course, as we moved on, we got
Oh,
into
look at
NHL
this.
95, right?
See that one?
NHL
This guy right here on the
96
Super Nintendo.
It-
That's the one that I probably played most was NHL 95.
Yeah. So now we didn't do them in order because I wanted to say NHL 94 is always considered
Look at
kind
what's
of
happening
the
here.
granddaddy of them all.
That's it.
Right.
And that's
Isn't-
the one. That's the one that that was the first one for Super Nintendo, right?
Second one, actually,
Second
there was
one? There was a-
NHL 93.
There was on
There
Super
was an
Nintendo.
NHL
Okay.
PA 93, and then this one, it was NHL PA 93 because
Yes.
it didn't have logos.
Remember,
it just
yeah.
had, and then this was the first just straight NHL game from EA Sports for Super Nintendo.
And then was 95 the one where they brought in the one timer?
It was no. It was
94
94.
was the one?
They
Okay.
brought in and that's
There you
why
go.
that's like the classic one.
Changed everything.
right? Because it totally did,
Yeah.
and it had real logos, it had real players, and all
And
that
you
stuff.
could play with both of us on the same team, and I could set you up for one timers all day. And that's
You
what
could
made
do
it
it.
so fun.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So NHL 94, it's
at
it's
this.
great, and so and like again, tons of hours. You know, now I was always Pittsburgh because that's my favorite team, and they were really good.
That's fair. Yeah. At that time, big time good.
Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
were really good. They were winning Stanley Cups. My brother was always Dallas. He's a big Dallas
Oh,
Stars fan. So
interesting. Okay.
usually I'd have the edge because my team was
little bit
better.
better, yeah.
But I would say it's because of me.
Obvious. You could have any team, but you know
There
who's
you go.
pushing the buttons.
There you go. So that was now this is Super Nintendo, right? Everybody remembers NHL. This is Sega Genesis, which is a little bit different, but kind of the same thing. And then actually I can probably leave these stacked up here. And then of course we get into later years. Okay, we have NHL 97.
And those boxes too, hey?
Yeah,
the boxes
Super
they would
Nintendo
come in.
boxes.
You see that thing wrapped up on
and
Christmas
NHL
morning?
98.
Oh, yeah.
Rare people forget that NHL 98 came out on Super Nintendo. There were not many copies of this game
Yeah,
made.
because they were going into the transition to 64 around that time, right?
That's right. So NHL 98, pretty rare game. If you can find it,
Yes.
it goes for a pretty penny. It's I think it's in 3-digit territory.
Oh, yeah.
So
Very rare.
So I found it a long time ago and I kept it. And then of course NHL 97 with John Van Beesbrook on the cover.
Love the
and
Beezer.
and that was the year when they started getting like Florida And
the expansion was rolling in.
And by the way, this game here, if for those of us who might remember, this is the last game that had the old Winnipeg Jets.
Before the move.
Before the move. This was the last game that had the old Winnipeg Jets. So, which I was sad about because my grandfather lived in Winnipeg and I was like,
You had a connection.
So like my favorite team is Pittsburgh, but my favorite Canadian team is I cheer for the Winnipeg Jets.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
We'll allow that.
So that's the last. So if you want to play with the old Winnipeg Jets in video games,
That's your last
NHL
one.
96. That's the one you want.
Amazing.
And then now you talked about the transition, right?
Yes. Here we
How
go.
about when things started going 3D with Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, right?
That's a fun one.
And that's the one where you got like the hitting and all
very
the
arcadey.
hit check. Yeah, very arcadey, very arcadey game. The hitting, the hit checks, and you'd have like guys flying down, and then
Getting on fire. That's
you
on
could,
fire.
Yeah, you could let the net on fire. There was like I think it was like down C and B or something like that, and the net would just goes.
Yeah. Very cool.
So that was really neat, and that was basically the first 3D foray, or one of the first 3D forays in hockey. And I like the announcer guy because he's hilarious, you know. Robin Hood and his merry men are up to it again. That guy got, and he would say stuff like, "That guy got clobbered,"
The
you know.
cheesiest stuff, yeah. Very in with the theme of the game.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is it's pick up and play. Anybody can play it, and it's kind of goofy. And by the way, I talked about how NHL 96 is the last game with the old Winnipeg Jets, and this Wayne Gretzky game came out for Nintendo 64 as the 1996-97 season was starting. But there is a code to use the old Winnipeg Jets in that game. Yes, with the old logos. Yes, there is.
That's so cool.
And you can use Quebec and actually Hartford, Minnesota, Quebec, and Winnipeg. There's a
all
code.
the throwbacks.
Yeah, in that game. I didn't realize it.
That's
till years
really
later.
cool.
Yeah,
I love Easter eggs like that. That makes me so happy.
So that game was a fun game, and of course they evolved it with Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey '98. So this one comes out around when '97 season, and then you had Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey '98, and then and so these were some of the. Man, these are the coolest games.
This is my childhood, man. This is what we went through. This is it. In honor of NHL opening day yesterday. Look at us go.
I know, and it's
So
it's
themed.
great. And the cool thing is, I mean, I kept a lot of these games, and I kind of was like, well, I'll just keep it because it's cool. But now some of these games, they start to go up in value after a while too. You give dollars, right?
That's it. Collecting, man. That's what's all about.
So I still play them, and you know what? Like I still. By the way, these games, people might not remember. Remember the 90s, the Fox puck streak?
Oh, do I ever.
This is one of the first
Yes.
games that had that. Remember?
The little, it was like a comet trail on the puck.
Yeah,
and they
because they
changed
were
colors
trying
with a
to
hard shot.
market the game in the U.S.
Yeah,
and
they said, hey, the biggest complaint we get is people can't see the puck. So let's digitize it and make it so it's a computer graphic on the screen.
That's right. They did it.
And it looked like you were watching a video game.
This is the one of the first, these games right here, one of the first video games that did that. By the way, that I can kind of, like, people don't realize, back when we were growing up, this was a big TV.
Yeah.
Like 20 inches or 25 inches. If you had a 25-inch TV, Johnny was
screen.
coming to your
Yeah, it
house,
was a
you
big
know?
screen,
like
man.
that was
Yep.
So I can kind of get I don't see it, but I guess maybe if you're someone in the US, you don't watch hockey much, maybe you can't see the puck. I mean, back in those days it was a little different. I could see the puck, no problem.
It didn't last very long, so that lets you know what people
because
thought of it.
everybody thought that it was a little, I want to say,
much.
juicy and
Little
crazy,
much.
and it didn't really work. So,
And good try. I'm always all for trying things.
Yeah, exactly,
And that's
exactly.
it.
You got to
So,
try. I mean, now they got like ads on the boards that move and stuff like that.
Everything. Ugh.
So, folks, I mean, you know what? NHL season has started. We took a little bit of a dip back here, and
I love it.
I mean, do you got any memories playing some of these old games? I can tell you one. I remember me and my brother were playing Blades of Steel, and it went to overtime. And he figured out how to score with the penalty shots.
Oh, no.
And I couldn't do it. And so he beat me in the penalty shots. And I remember saying, well, you cheated. You didn't tell me. He's like, it's not my job to tell you how to play.
Oh, what a brother.
So, and of course, he's a younger brother, right? Like, I'm bigger
worst.
than him. I'm stronger than him, but he sort of has the finger in my face. So that's one of my better memories. And of course, lots of hours on this thing. My buddy Nathan used to come over when I was young. We used to play that for like the Wayne Gretzky hockey for like ever.
Entire
and,
weekends.
And there's like big head modes. So I don't know if you got a
that fun
favorite
stuff.
moment, but it's probably just a lot of moments.
I can
eating
tell you
pizza.
there's two. with Blades of
Yeah.
Steel, video nights over in the Avalon Shopping Center was our go-to place.
Oh,
I
right
remember
on.
renting it from there numerous times.
Yeah.
And same thing with the shootouts.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. My older brothers
Yeah.
were the opposite. They could figure it out, so they would just roast me. So
There
I couldn't
you
go to
go.
overtime.
There you
and
go.
the other one is playing any of these games
Yeah.
with my brother.
Yeah.
And I would have to let him win because if I didn't, he would take the controller and swing it and whack me in the face.
Oh, no.
So he physically beat me until I had to let him win. So that was a lot of
Wow.
my childhood with these games.
Wow,
So
wow.
Way more fun playing by myself than with my brothers for a while.
And the cool thing is that they were actually easy to learn to play. Like
Yeah.
it was only 2 or 3 buttons, 4 buttons max. For
And
a lot of
being
these
able to
games.
play a full season with stats and stuff, too,
Yeah.
like very fun.
Which back then that was a huge deal, right? And the other thing that people ask about is hockey games. I remember at least when these games would come out, the first thing I'd ask my buddies, does it have fighting in it?
Yes.
Because back then
It was cool.
That was the cool new feature. Blades of Steel started it, and so now it was like, are they gonna have fighting? And then you get the whole. I mean, you'd hope you could get into a fight.
Yeah,
you know?
and some of them had blood in them for a
Some
while.
of it
and
had
some
blood.
didn't.
It was
Yeah,
like
it was a thing.
stuff you would never see now,
That's
which
right.
is why we love the good old days because it was more of a free for all.
So much fun.
But yeah, so that was great. So you know what? Like, I mean, I thought do you have a team? Do you have a favorite team or not? Really?
Oilers and the Bruins.
You cheer for the Oilers and the
And the
Bruins?
Bruins. Yeah, I had a
Okay.
split house.
Okay, well that's
So,
all right. That's
I
all
love
right.
both of them.
I was actually at an Oilers game a number of years ago. I was at Ryan Nugent Hopkins' first.
Nice.
The game he got his first hat trick. It was
There it
against
is.
Vancouver. I have a photo of me and my buddy.
good.
We're like, yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. This
So
is
there
great.
you have it. This I thought it'd just be a fun thing to do, and then next week we'll do more local gaming stuff.
Maybe
and,
some
and have a good
basketball, 'cause
time.
basketball's
That's
kicking off
right.
soon,
That's
too.
right. That's right. That's right. In fact, that'd be a good NBA Jam. Remember him? Did you ever play NBA
He's on
Jam?
fire.
He's on fire.
It must be the shoes.
You know that
I
guy?
quote it all the time.
I actually got him to do my voicemail.
Come on.
No, I did. I'll play it next
course you
week.
did.
We'll talk a little bit of basketball or something
we're
like
gonna
that.
play that
and
for
I'll
sure.
play that I have it on my phone, I think, somewhere.
good. You
I
have
got
to
him.
find it.
He lives in Illinois, Tim Kitzrow, and if you ever want to email him, I think he still does it. I paid him like $50. So
Now we got something to look forward to. Thank you so much, brother. You always make these Thursdays
Love
so
it.
much fun.
Love it.
Happy opening NHL season to you. Be sure to enjoy all of these. And he will be back next week, and we'll do some basketball as far as video games go. And maybe we'll hear that voicemail.
absolutely there.
Matt
All
Young
right.
from CTV. Check him out. He's everywhere. Thank you so much,
No
brother.
problem, sir. We'll see you next week.
Always love when he stops by. Again, the great Matt Young from CTV, reminding us about all those hockey games that we got into while cheering for opening day and looking forward to a brand new NHL season, which kicked off yesterday. Best of luck to every favorite team out there, especially yours, whoever it is. I hope they get you a big win as we continue on the Thursday edition of your show. I do want to say real quick, we have another new episode of the All Out of Angst podcast. It is hosted and live right now, starring Uncle Mike and his All Natural Products, our friend Matt from All the Bands, and yours truly. It is an audio-only podcast that you can also find wherever you get your audio-only podcasts. You can even Google it and just Google All Out of Angst podcast. You'll find it as we talk about a bunch of cool things. This past one, the newest one that's up, began as a list of tips for bands looking to get started in touring and trying to take that next step as far as a band goes, as Matt from All the Bands has done a lot of it. So he shares a bunch of tips there, and then it carried over into the Tuesday Your Show. So it's sort of like a choose your own adventure thing. You listen to that audio-only podcast, and you come back and watch on YouTube or listen to the audio-only version of it. And it's a big continuation. So it's a nice long show as we pay tribute to the great NoFX, my favorite band of all time, who we love so much. And we talk about tips on how to get your band out on the road and saving money and doing good things to be safe while on tour. NFL football is in full swing, and we had one of our favorite football guys in studio earlier when the season did kick off to make some predictions. And I thought it'd be great to check back in, and he's done a lot since the last time we talked to him. Let's go ahead and run that one now, LB. It's been way too long. This man started out as a local radio superstar, and then he said, you know what, I'm going to take over the world. And then he did that. You see him all over social media. You know him from Creator Aid. You also know him as one of our favorite people. Ladies and gentlemen, Kroker's in the house.
Happy to be here, bud. Missed you.
You made it. I
Missed
missed
your
you
face.
too. Now tell me, you've been globetrotting, right? Let's go over what your last month has been. Can we talk about that?
See, that's not my style. I'm not a globetrotter. I'm not Mr. Worldwide. It's been wild. I love delays at airports. Like,
Yeah.
I love layovers. I
Yeah.
love hanging out at the Chili's, having a beer. I love the Calgary Chili's airport beer. I live for it. Something about airport layovers, delays, canceled flights, whatever.
Makes you thirsty.
I like hanging out in an airport because it's like, what else am I going to do? I'm just going to hang out.
Got nowhere else to go.
Good conversation, good friends, whatever.
Bring those beers in, man.
But week after week after week, I can see why people get sick of it. Whenever I would say that, I'd tell people like, oh man, I love traveling just because of the airport layovers. And people who travel a lot, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's
You understand.
We were in Nashville for a work trip for 3 days. Did the downtown thing, but it was a big work kind of trip.
Yeah.
Stayed in this super bougie hotel. Again, like we just, but everyone else is all dressed up fancy, and I'm just classic Saskatchewan. I was wearing this bunny hug. I was wearing a Vico bunny
You made
hug.
that thing famous, by the way.
But we ran to Barry Trotz in the
Trotz
hotel,
boy.
so we got to talk to him. It was
good-
all these
good
other
dude,
like
hey?
country music celebs everywhere.
sweet's
right?
Barry
But-
Trotz?
So then 5 days later, me and my wife went to Atlanta, and we went to northern Georgia for a wedding right during Hurricane Helene. So we were 90 miles away from Asheville, North Carolina, which was like the big, huge area that got
Yeah.
like hit on, right?
Absolutely.
So we were like 2 days later looking through our phones like, man, we were literally right there.
That was it.
In like a mountain town that looked exactly like that. We were there for a wedding. Super fun trip. Got to see the Falcons play the Cardinals.
Those
The
are my
tailgating
boys.
scene there, Gary. So like they had the official Home Depot tailgating area there. That's
Yeah.
like legit. You pay to get in there. They set up. They got unreal food options, all this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we were about 15 minutes away from the stadium, and we got to see like the unofficial tailgating
The
scene
real
for a
tailgate.
Falcons Saints game.
Yes.
Two teams that just hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Man, gas station parking lots were just shut down. They were just people setting up TVs, generators everywhere,
Barbecues.
beats bumping, people just partying. Whole parking lot's gone. Whole park's gone. It was the scene. The vibes were amazing, and everyone was like, again, it was a rivalry. You can kind of see some hatred in the air, right? But at the same time, it was kind of like we're just partying. We're having a good time. So much food on the grill. People selling illegal stuff everywhere. I mean, like drugs and just like copyright infringement stuff with like the wrong logos on it, bags and fake Oakley stuff like that.
The best.
It was insane. It was just, again, for a Saskatchewan guy being in Atlanta, culture shock. Like, big culture shock.
yeah.
But the stadium's amazing. Like, that stadium, you need to go see that stadium. It is a one-of-a-kind marvel. Just architecturally, the fact that, like, beer is $5.
That's
like
crazy.
a pretzel's $2. It's like the price-friendly stadium.
Love
and just
those.
not a bad seat in the house. The crowd is amazing. They're just the infield production, the on-game
Yeah.
production was second to none.
It was a really good game, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the 58-yard game-winning field goal
it's
from
crazy,
Koo there. It
yeah.
was, and they do the Roberto Luongo boo, and Koo comes out there. It's
yeah.
actually really, really cool. So, but man,
Yeah.
it was a one-of-a-kind trip. I mean, who goes to Atlanta? Right? Like, it's just like, oh, we're going to Atlanta. It's like, it's not like a place you go to visit for like a vacation or
It's
whatever.
like Delaware on Winsboro.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it's like you're happy you went though. Like the Coca-Cola Museum, got to
Oh,
see a
dude.
bit of that. It's
Yeah.
like the history, the culture there. Went to Waffle House.
Ooh, how was Waffle House?
I mean, it's so good.
What'd you get?
It's waffle. I mean, come
My
on.
bad,
I
my
mean,
bad.
Come on, man.
Yep.
But like again, like the hash browns and the bacon and all that stuff. It's just the vibes in there. Everyone's yelling at each other, but they all love each other at the same time. It's weird. We got to see like the big city, United States. And then we got to see the small town southern United States. Like the town we stayed in is like 1,000 people. It's like a little Banff
no way.
with all these cool little breweries and bars. Been hitting the booze a lot the past couple weekends. Not gonna lie.
You've been in some detox here.
And
when
then,
you got home.
but then more recently we were in Toronto because my family was on the feud.
Here we go.
So like yeah, so randomly they reached out to me like 5-6 months ago. They're like, hey Clayton, like we need a couple prairie families. I'm seeing a couple of your videos. Why don't you apply? We don't have any. Here's what he told me afterwards. He's like, no one really interesting applied. From Saskatchewan.
Come
It was
on,
like-
man.
It was like everyone was just kind of boring. So they're like, let's just find some random idiots on the internet. And some of my videos popped up, and they're like, hey, like, do you want to apply? So I asked my family. My mom and dad were hard no.
Yeah.
Because my mom would like pee her pants, be so nervous.
Yeah.
Like she'd be more nervous about going viral and becoming a meme. And like blowing it for the whole family and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're never gonna talk to me at Thanksgiving if I blow.
I get
like,
it.
No, like we
Yeah.
don't care. But dad can't hear, so he would just again be the worst contestant.
Sorry,
And
say
he's-
that again.
He's cranky. He wouldn't want to sit there, but so it was just all the siblings, me, my wife, my brother, my sister, and my sister's husband. We all went.
Nice.
And basically, yeah, they flew us out there. You hang out the night before, practicing, reading random questions. Then you get there 7 a.m. You sit in the studio. You kind of just go over all the rules and regulations, play a couple dummy games, do some auditions, kind of do good answer, the X's. They go all over all that stuff. And then you just sit and wait. And then you just sit in the big, like the CBC studios are on like almost the top floor, and you're just kind of hanging out. doing whatever, and then was like, hey, you guys are up next. You're with all like the 10 of the families there, and like, all right, you guys are up next. Here we go.
Is there any shit talking when the families are in there?
Everyone's getting along. Everyone's having fun. Like it was just, we're the only Saskatchewan ones there, so people were. So what's it like over there? Right? Like, it was kind of like we're the token Saskatchewan prairie family. Like everyone else was Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Montreal, or Toronto area. We were just.
They really wanted that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. But we had so much fun. Again, that's all I can say. Like,
yeah, that's what I was
all
going
I
to
can say. You got to tune in February or March of next year. But it was so much fun. Like it was just. The day, like when it all ended, we were just wiped. We were just like, what a day of just, because the whole day, the word is energy. You got to fake smile, you got to clap, you got to keep going. And by the end of it, you're just like, woo, you're just like, my goodness. But
when did you finish? You got there at 7 a.m. When did you finish?
We were done, like at the whole full filming day is 7 to 7. So, yeah, 7 to 7, and then they let you go. And then, sometimes some families have to stay there that whole time and be like, sorry, like, you got to come back tomorrow. We got to finish this.
So the winners keep coming back.
Yeah, they could be there the whole day, and then they got to still come back the next day.
Dude, like, it sounds like you might have gave a little bit away there.
Why?
Well, I mean, you were there the whole day, and you just said, if teams do good, you got to stay there the whole day.
We might have been the fourth family, though.
That's true, too.
Last
Okay,
one.
good cover.
I didn't tell you when we got picked.
Legally,
I didn't tell you what happened.
Legally, we're good.
No, exactly. No, we're fine. Yeah, they don't mind. No, so.
And again, it's promoting.
And I'm looking back on some of these answers that I answered, and I'm so worried. Like
this is what I wanted.
For 5 months, I've been sitting here being like, I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, like why did I say that? And I only have 5 months left of freedom before this airs, and everyone's going to be like, oh, God.
Did you dig deep for some really good answers?
It's hard to hear in there because all the sound is going towards the studio audience and the recorders and everything, like the cameras and the mics that they pick up. So you can't really, like, you're just with Jerry, you're hearing him. Like, you don't have a microphone or an earpiece or anything.
Yeah. Sometimes
it's hard to pick them up, and the adrenaline's going. You just don't. So there's one question. I don't even know if I can say it. I totally misheard it. And I totally did not get the premise of the question. I buzz in, boom, here we go, and I just said like the worst possible thing. And I was I don't even know. I'll tell you off camera maybe, but like and I was like, oh no.
That's a viral moment.
Because it was just like I didn't understand the question enough. Because they try to trick you, like make it seem like it's one question. Like if something was blank, how would you deal with it in a blank situation? And I'm like,
man.
I thought, and then so I was just like, oh my.
See, and that wasn't an early buzz-in, and then not knowing the thing,
So then my
right?
wife kind of heard it the same way and says kind of like along the same kind of lines. Because then I said it X, they got an X, it came back to her, and it's like X. Because she, again, another stupid answer. And then all of a sudden was like, oh, that's what the question meant. Because they reread it, we're like, oh. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm in trouble. But yeah, it should be fun when it airs. But like we had the best experience ever. My sister has 3 kids. We have a young 2-year-old. My brother lives in Lethbridge, has 2 young kids, 2 young daughters. We hardly get to do stuff.
Anything
that's
together.
Just like, hey, like we're not a big travel vacation family. We're not a Disneyland family. We're nothing like that, right? So doing this was like a huge fun deal. That's like what? Talk about it forever. And got the name tag on the fridge and everything right now. It's super cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So that, like, would it be fair to say that there were some really hilarious answers? Like, did you have, who's the host? Is that Jerry D?
Yeah.
Do you have him making fun of you?
My brother-in-law has some very funny answers. I got a couple good ones.
Nice.
My wife has a couple really just so funny ones. There's some good, it's all overall, like there's a good mix of like, hey, good job, and hey, that was horrible, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for, because that's
entertain.
If you go back and watch any episode of Family Feud, there's always at least one or two like, wow, what the heck was that? Yeah. I get it now, because you're just like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I don't have time. And they're also like, like Jerry's gonna ask you a question, so you're also thinking, what's he gonna ask me? Oh, I gotta stay on my toes. Oh, I still gotta think of the answer. I have no idea, and you're just blank, and you're just like, crap. And you have no idea what to do after that, and you're just like, ah.
There's something weird about when cameras turn
and
on,
you
right?
just freeze.
It just literally, it's like the thing in Will Smith's movie with the aliens. It's like,
again,
boom, the brainwasher.
We're a sweaty family, too.
Men in Black.
We're a sweaty family, so every, like, commercial break or timeout or whatever, it's like, I'm like, hey, guys, like, stop it, seriously, right? But, no, like, we had this, like, the executive producer guy, Ryan, was a gem. He was, like, your team captain kind of the whole time, holds your hand, really goes through everything, like, tells you, gotta clap more, gotta do this or that. Like, the best employee ever.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law wanted to hire him at the end, like, just like he, like, does, like, kitchen interiors and, like, a bunch of stuff like that. He's like,
be perfect for my business, yeah. That's the guy.
Well, I'm kind of happy it's over. Just burped on camera there.
Hey,
sorry there. That's
all
my
good.
bad.
But
man, like I'm happy it's over because I like home. Traveling's tough, and it's
especially that much.
And again, you can't bring your kid too. It's like for 3 trips in a row, I was away from my little son Morris, and it was just like, man, I just want to be home for a while. Like,
And don't forget about Kipper.
yeah, and Kipper too. And again, I'm not even focused on fantasy football at all. I'm just focused on the trips and making memories on the weekends that I'm gone. And it's just like, man, like my team's gone to shit.
I was
Like,
going to
it's
ask
so bad,
you.
man.
That's a great segue into the fantasy football part of this talk, as we're hanging out with Kroker from Creator Aid. He's also a member of this beautiful family. We love him oh so much. You let the fantasy football go to poop.
I'm in one of those leagues where we have a really unique punishment at the end of the league.
I love those
It's
so
called
much.
the Pancake League. So we do
Yes.
the 24 hours in a Denny's. Every pancake you eat gets an hour off your time.
Yeah.
So one guy last year, again, he tried to do, I'm going to crush 10 pancakes, or I'm going to crush as many pancakes as I can, as fast as I can, get out of here. Got to 10 and literally couldn't function for the rest of the day. Just had to sit there
Too many
scrolling on his
cakes.
phone,
Yeah.
going to the bathroom. But I'm second last in this league. Thank goodness my buddy doesn't have a win yet, and he's gotten so screwed over like every other team. Like he has an average of 122 points a game.
Ooh, that's a lot, by
and
the way.
He's 0-5.
That's not fair.
So like he's getting like guys putting him up with 180, 190 against him. I'm just like, oh man, sucks. I got one win at least, right? Another league I'm 0-5. My league I'm in for like 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
But then the one league I don't care about, I'm 4-1. And it's just like that's the league
That's how it always
I know,
goes.
right? But like the two, it sucks when the two really, really care about leagues.
Yeah.
I think everyone who plays a lot of fantasy football has your two really, really care about leagues.
Yeah.
And a couple other ones that are I'm just here for fun.
Yeah.
Man, those are struggling right now. And last year was looking good. I had an okay draft. I took Richardson too high. I took him in the second round.
But he's your guy.
I know he's my guy, and I had
Bad
Pittman.
hit?
I won the
Yeah.
connection and everything like that. But man, he's just. Yeah, I
Well,
don't know
that
if he's
connection,
it.
I think
don't know
that's
if he's it.
Flacco's connection now, hey?
I don't have Flacco though. I was too late in the waiver wire. I know. So I got Mayfield. Mayfield's
I
not a
picked him
bad
up, too.
backup to
Yep.
have there too. So, but like how my teams are just struggling. I don't have anything to be excited about because it's our like by week 5. If you're 0-5, 1-4, that's a tough hole to get out of because
Big time.
technically you're almost halfway through the season.
Yeah,
Pretty much, right? Like
damn near.
I know.
Yeah, and you say it so perfectly. I got my big 3 Yahoo leagues, and
Mm-hmm.
last year I was in the gold medal final in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I had this incredible season in all 3 of these other ones, and I'm in 2 other ones that I made it to the finals as well, but those are the ones I didn't care about.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, I traded everything in the one league that we care about, the
Yeah.
DAFL, and I traded away everything. So now I came in this year without a pick until the 4th round. But I did have your boy Jonathan Taylor as a keeper, which was nice.
There you go.
But that league, we are 1-4, and it's horrible. And that's the punishment in that one's just straight cash, homie. Like, you got
Oh,
to pay an extra
yeah.
hundy. So it's going to be
Like
disgusting
that.
if I don't get
I
out of
like
there.
that, actually.
It keeps you motivated. So
Simple
I'm trying
but
to
nice.
flip everything.
Some
Like,
of-
it's nasty.
Some of these are getting out of hand, like the dead last fantasy football things. Like
They all go viral too, hey?
the best I saw a minor league baseball team, like they're participating in it, like the loser has to sing the anthem at the minor league baseball game
Amazing.
and stuff. Like that's
Sign
actually
that
pretty
up.
good. That's like nice, but like some leagues are getting like holy
You could do that with the berries,
crap,
bro,
right?
in your league.
Yeah, you could.
Get rid of the pancake and get you out there opening day for the berries.
Just like you're living life, all of a sudden you forget, like, oh crap, that's right, I have to do that.
I'm reminded every time about that when I open up that stupid team. So I don't know what the heck we're going to do there. Do you have any guys that have sort of been a saving grace for you as far as fantasy football goes so far? I know the teams haven't been good, but you got anyone shining out there?
I always take Canadians. So
Nice.
like before Chase Claypool fell off a cliff
Ooh,
talent wise,
He was
I started Claypool that 4 touchdown game when he had like 51 points. I was like boom because it's
Jackpot,
Canadian, right?
yeah.
So I always take those big name Canadians. So I had Chuba Hubbard and I had Chase Brown, the
Yeah.
2 Canadian running backs for the Panthers and the
The
Bengals.
Bengals.
So again, they both have been, they got 20 points.
They're stepping
and
up.
then last week they were getting, I think they both got at least 15. So I traded Etienne because after that performance he was gone. So I traded Etienne and Montgomery for a lot of future picks for next year because it's like whatever. But I already got 2 young, great running backs in the stable. So I'm building for the future, yet
That's it.
not giving up on the season, right? So
Yeah.
those have been good. But like Hawkinson, I tried to get him. Oh, he'll be back earlier than I thought. No, he's been out. I thought I was going to get a steal in the draft for that, but not really. Calvin Ridley's been really disappointing.
Let me down too.
Oh
Yeah.
man, like no wonder he
just
was
dropped
available
him.
in all my drafts.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this. He's been useless.
Yeah, that whole team over there. Was that Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Levis is bad. The whole situation there is bad.
D-Hop.
Yeah.
But Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony.
He's been one of my guys. I got him in all 3.
Fantasy wise, yeah, but actual football wise,
Oh, obviously. We don't care about actual football, do we?
Exactly, right? But that's the thing. It's so sad when you're already looking towards the future and like, oh, who can I get picks for, and oh, who can I sell, right? But it's also nice finding those random like waiver wire guys who do go off and then you
Yes.
just trade them. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
no harm, no foul. Got some picks for later on.
Make
so.
something happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm also in one of those situations in our high stakes league with former NHL goaltender Tim Cheveldae. I always love dropping Chevy's name. He's always sending deals, and I love to wheel and deal with him. But I have the most points in the league, but I'm 3-2. So it's the same type of thing.
It's like, what else can you do, right?
Yeah, that's all.
What do you think of your Cardinals? I texted you about Kyler the other
I
day.
love
Kyler's
that.
looking good, man.
Man, it's, if they can keep playing like that, because, like, obviously there's no McCaffrey, which is another thing. Like, if you drafted McCaffrey, oh boy. And I stayed away from him because I had him on all 3 of those teams last year, and he took me to all those titles. So I was like, no, there's no way this guy's going to play a snap this year. And sure enough, comes out arthritis in both of his knees, and he's just falling apart.
He's falling apart.
And that's like a first overall pick for a lot of guys. So just to have that happen, and then still, it's San Fran. And if you're a Cardinals fan, all you've done for your entire life is get beat down by San Fran. That's just what happened.
Even when San Fran was bad, because you guys were also
very
bad. Yeah.
So just to see, and I know it's a little bit like in the way that it ended, but you still have to make that play. You still have to make that interception to end it. And Kyler still has to go running. Kyler still has to do his thing. And he finally is. It's not really a coming out party for him, but it's very nice to know that he has that in him still.
And
you know what I mean?
You're also 2-3 in a division that hasn't been really playing that well. Seattle's kind of coming
off,
down.
yeah.
San Fran has a rough start. Maybe they keep it up again. No McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And the Rams are just kind of they have so many injuries right now.
Without Cooper or Puka, they don't got much.
See, if Arizona can go a little bit of a run here, they can again I'm not saying they're going to win the division or go to the playoffs, but they can contend and play meaningful football later on in the season.
And that's almost all you can ask for.
Exactly, because next year I think again you guys got some good young talent. I think you guys finally believe in Kyler Murray, which is a big thing. So it's like, hey, we're going to finally build around Kyler. Let's go. We know our identity as a team. We're going to go forward.
Now, that's real quick. Let's look at your boys. We just talked about Anthony Richardson, bum hip. Jonathan Taylor, he's hurting. Injury bug hitting everybody. How you feeling about those Colts?
Our O-line's still kind of intact, which is nice. Like, they're keeping Joe Flacco afloat. Like, when Joe can sit there and just chuck, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But again, we don't really have a running game. We don't really have any sort of secondary. Our defense is kind of meh right now. Our D-line's not bad with Buckner, and that's getting pressure. But man, the Colts are just we're gonna finish 9-8 again. Like, you just kind of see it coming.
You sound so defeated.
It's just I like the way our young receivers are looking right now, and I like the way Pittman's kind of developed into a true number one. But we have no tight end. We got no real presence at linebacker. It's just been kind of like we need some players, but
there's no star power.
No one really wants to come to
saying.
Indy, right?
Yeah.
Like we put a lot of money into Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if it's really been worth it. He's awesome, but I kind of he started 4 years at Wisconsin. And they just fed him the rock like 20 times a game. I was like, this guy's got a lot of tread on the tires.
Yeah.
And I kind of seeing that now. He's a little slower, but we also don't have any like explosive backup behind him. We got good young receivers. It's awesome having Anthony Richardson as this awesome electric young quarterback, but he's so hurt all the time. He's played like 7 games.
Yeah.
And it's like he's been lights out for a couple of them where you're like, holy shit, this guy's the next Cam Newton, maybe
showing
better.
that, yeah. And then
but it's been frustrating. Joe Flacco has been super fun to watch, but we lost. Like, last game was so frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's still fun watching Colts. I don't know. I've always liked watching Colts football. Or something about the way the Colts play football. It might be the uniforms, how classic they look, or just like their state. I always like watching the Colts on TV for some reason. It's just
that's how they become.
They always have kind of fun games. I don't know, but they're not going to be a playoff team. They're not going to be anything this year. They need to find a new identity. They need to just what are they? They're the ground and pound team. Or are they going to air it out all the time? What are they going to do?
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. There's no star power there, and like no one ever talks about them. So that's sort of a weird dynamic to think about.
We need Arch Manning.
Yeah, man, you got to lose a lot more if you're getting Arch.
Sick. Imagine if Arch came in and
do it for Dad. In the house, do it for Dad. Yeah, that would be wild. Dad or nephew? Nephew.
Peyton's his uncle.
Yeah.
Cooper.
That's
the
best
third. The best one of all, Cooper Manning.
Yeah.
He had that back problem.
And couldn't
Never
make
play
it.
again.
Yeah. And so his son's going to live he's going to live vicariously through his son.
Probably
Something
already
fantastic.
is.
Yeah, that's a good point. That kid is good. What's he? Texas. And
Quinn's
he just started.
backup.
Yeah. Very cool. So just to take a look back now, before the start of the season, we had a little preview, and we talked about the teams we think are going to go to the Super Bowl. Over here, I took Atlanta, who you saw, and I took Pittsburgh on the other side. Pittsburgh looked great until the last 2 games.
They did.
Now
I still
they're
can't believe
up
we
in
took
arms.
Pittsburgh, but Atlanta's looking better with Kirk Cousins. He's
And
starting
that's
to really
the
look
thing.
it. He
He's
looks a
getting
little
used to it.
slower, but
Yeah.
still really, really good in the Falcons.
Just like in Indy, they're in Atlanta. They're finding who they are.
Yeah.
They're defining themselves, and they're turning into that thing.
I picked the Bengals on that, right?
I believe so.
They've been so disappointing.
But dude, there's a guy. Shout out to SCS Cotner Concrete Service, Sutner Concrete Services. He put up 212 points last week because he had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
a big day. That's why you want the combo, right?
it,
Like
yeah.
that's why you reach to get that quarterback in the second or third round, so you can get the combo. Because
Yeah.
when they go off, that's like an
It's a
automatic
double.
win.
Yeah, it's just
automatic
a double
win
double.
that week.
So fantasy football wise, since he's doing great, but what are they 1-4?
Again, like Joe Burrow, like I was going to put $50 on him preseason MVP because it was paying off like 20-1, 30-1 but he's been good. But
that's
it's just
the
they don't
thing.
have any wins. Like they're not going to make
they
the
can't
playoffs.
Turn around. They're just in shootouts. That defense.
They got to
isn't
play
really showing up.
Baltimore again. They got to play Pittsburgh twice. They got to play.
Ooh.
They got a tough schedule. It's not going to be easy.
So who do you got in the AFC? Who do you think's going now? If you could redo your prediction.
It's hard not to take Baltimore. I mean, so that's the thing. Like the Ravens kind of look back right now, and like Lamar's just passing the ball better than he ever has.
I
Derrick
got
Henry
him.
looks good.
Yeah.
But is Minnesota also in the AFC?
NFC, baby.
So I
They're
would
the
take
hot
right
pick.
now Baltimore, Minnesota. I believe in Minnesota. I believe in Sam Darnold.
What are they like? So
It's going to be a
JJ,
purple Super Bowl.
nice.
Yeah.
I like that. JJ McCarthy, former Michigan Wolverine national champion. He was gone for the year, correct?
Yeah, blew out his knee.
Blew out his
Training
knee,
camp.
so he was supposed to be their guy. Sam Darnold comes in, a guy who hasn't done anything anywhere. You put Sam Darnold in a good system, and who would have thought?
Everyone was like writing off the Vikings before the season because it was like their starting corner died.
Yeah.
Hawkinson wasn't coming, or Hawkinson had a leg injury and a setback. Again, J.J. McCarthy down, a couple other big injuries. Man, they're the best team in football. They haven't lost. They look, and Darnold is slinging it. It helps having Justin Jefferson and some other good weapons, but he's
Aaron
slinging it.
Jones, who was killing it, and then he just went down last week.
Everyone was like, "Oh, I'm so surprised." Aaron Jones has been one of the best running backs in football for
Literally.
5 years.
Yeah, it's only
And
fantasy guys that get that.
And
I
he
think.
hasn't been like getting these 25, 30 carry games. Like they always used him pretty well in Green Bay, right? Because they love to use him out of the backfield as well. You get a lot of touches that way.
Yeah.
But man, like the fact everyone was like, Aaron Jones, that's kind of okay. Man, I was like, this is a great signing from Minnesota. Like their rival just down the road. Like, why is everyone just kind of brushing this off? He's been awesome in fantasy, and he's just been awesome for them too.
Yeah, I like that. I do you know a purple Super Bowl? That'd be pretty
I think it's
interesting.
going to be a purple Super Bowl.
Pretty interesting.
You heard it here second.
Well done.
Yeah.
And you saw Atlanta live. You think they have any sort of chance?
Who?
Atlanta? You were there. You were right in the mix. How are the boys?
They're never going to blow out teams, and if you're not going to be that big blowout team, you're not going to win the playoffs, right? I just think because they're just going to win close football games. Like that's kind of all they've done this year is win those close, nitty-gritty football games at the last
58
second.
yarders
Exactly,
to
right?
win.
Like that's kind of the team they are. If they're going to win that way, or they're going to get blown out. And those teams just again, they might make the playoffs. They could grease their way in there, but they're not going to do any noise there. I think so.
Okay.
Maybe
so
Pittsburgh though. It depends. Depends what Fields can do here, but that last game did not look good.
it sounds like they're going to start working Russell in now
Yeah.
too. So we'll see how that all works out. But still, they looked really good for those first three.
Exactly.
So anything can happen. His name is Kroker. You know him from the internet. You know him from Creator Aid. And you know him being one of our favorite people. Brother, thank you so much. I always appreciate the stop by.
Love you, buddy.
So happy you're back, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
See you next week, bud.
Always a great day when we get to check in with our good brother Kroker. And be sure to check him out. He's everywhere. Everywhere you go on the internet, you'll find him as he continues to crush it. And as we continue to crush this Thursday edition of your show, by the way, we got one more for you today, a guy who we know and love oh so much, and we're going to bring him to you now. Let's go, LB. Uglykid Joel, not just an incredible band way back in the day with awesome album covers, they also gave us this beautiful Joel who just, what's the term? It's a joke when it's like calling a big guy tiny.
Oh, I don't
that?
know.
Whatever it is, that's him. Uglykid Joel, you know him from Hometown Rock. You know him from every single local show here. You know him from tracking on Rock 102. And most of all, you know him from being one of my favorite dudes in the world, who I love so
Yay!
much. He's got 2 feet of banh mi in him right now, so he's
Oh.
ready to party.
Frankie's does a good banh mi.
Frankie's is the best. Forever you will get free advertising because we love you.
Yeah, I was
So
saying,
much.
by the end of the first one, you're just starting to enjoy how much it tastes, so you have to get to the second one.
See, people always ask me, how the hell do you eat 2 back to back? And that's exactly what I go through every time. I'm so happy you finally reached that point of banh mi-ism.
Will I be pleased when I go to the gym later today? Maybe not so much, but at this current point in time, I am happy.
And it's about to get happier because we're going to talk local music, which is your forte as you hit up all the local shows. I was just telling you before we hit record, our friends KD and Shane are doing some more One Bad podcasts, and they did an episode on Raging Bull hitting #1, and reliving that moment was super cool. And they were talking about how they made these bottles, and they gave them to different radio stations. They just put the stickers on some Jack Daniels. It was full of liquor at one point.
Oh.
And I had it downstairs with all my old stuff, so I ran in while we were recording, and I came out and tossed it up, and KD goes, whoa, there it is, look at that. So it was a really good episode. as we got new ones dropping for the next 3 Fridays until we record some more. So that's very fun. They are doing pretty good, hey, as they got the EP going and they got the new music out and they're crushing it. You got them in your studio and did a nice chat with them.
Yeah.
How are our boys in OBS doing?
Oh, they seem to be having a great time, and their Christmas show was coming back for another year.
Hell yeah.
December 21st, I believe. It's a Saturday, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And I think they're working on just finding an opening act right now. So
It's very fun. And it's so funny whenever you talk to Kurt Dahl about music, because he literally represents every single band, and not just Canadian anymore, like American and international bands. Like the dude's huge, so he always has the inside stories and all that. So a great connection to have for us as we work our way through this. What else we got going on in the local music scene coming up here, brother?
Tonight I'm chatting with Valley Bandits, because they and Chesterfield have a show coming up tomorrow. A great couple local bands over at Amigos, and there's Pop Carta, I think it is, a band out of Regina as well.
Fun.
So 9 o'clock, $10 at the door, I believe it was, which is an earlier start time than usual for Amigos, which is nice.
Very cool. I see, and this is how I'm thinking, as we love to promote our friends in Bloom Entertainment over at 3 Hall, as they got the Unplugged Open Mic every Friday from 6 to 9, so you can go there, get your Unplugged Open Mic on, have a meal, do your thing, and then head on over to Amigos.
I'm still not emotionally over Celeste singing Hallelujah when I went there.
So good.
My goodness. Like, that's a tough song, because, you know, Leonard Cohen, what a voice. That's a tough song to cover. And she, like, I was mesmerized. I was there with a date, and she was talking to me, and, like, I don't think I responded. And I was like, I'm so sorry. After the song ended, like, I came out of a spell. Like, oh.
And she can do that. And she's so kind, too. That's the other thing. All these people that come through here when we interview, they're so incredibly, like, gracious and kind, and so happy that we're just, you know, giving them a platform to promote. And then to hear that they keep crushing it each and every time is so cool. So that's really sweet. They got Matt Remenda coming up on Saturday, playing at 3 Hall as well.
Not related to
Drew Remenda. I don't think, I didn't ask him. But I'll have to text Drew and see. So I didn't want to just throw it out there without talking to him, because he was live. We didn't do a pre-tape. So he came in, and I didn't want to be like, hey, you know Drew? You guys related? No. Then, as you know, that would probably take the air right out of the interview, as it was an incredible one. Exactly. So that's going on. What else we got?
Tomorrow, I'm chatting with a lovely band out of Regina called Birthday Cake Trebuchet. They're back with a new single. Great group of guys. Such a fun band name. But they just have such a unique sound. It's just a lot of fun. So
I love the names. You know, at some point you figure these names might just eventually run out. They never do. They keep getting more creative, which they have to do, which I love.
Where did you come up with that? I don't know. I love it, but
very fun.
Also on Friday, our friends over at the Blades are doing Steve Night. Steve Night. So anybody named Steve or Stephanie or Steven or I don't know, maybe Kevin Stefanski will show up.
Stefan Urkel.
So they're being a little liberal. If your name is Steve in some form, like Stephanie, of course, then, you know, same thing. That you're going to get into the game for free. So we thought, hey, that's really cool. We're doing a whole Steve Day.
Here we go.
Any of the famous Steves in rock and roll we're going to be playing, and there's a lot.
I just off the top of my head, I can't think of any, so I was hoping you'd say there's a lot.
Yeah, there's Stevie Wonder,
Steve Harris,
Steve Perry, Steve Winwood.
You've obviously placed all these songs.
Yes.
You know?
But then there's a lot like I didn't remember immediately, because there's like drummers and bass players like Steve Adler from Guns N' Roses. Iron Maiden has a Steve in it. Def Leppard.
Steve Harris.
Steve Harris. Yeah.
Hell yeah, one of the greatest bassists ever.
Oh yeah, so
Love
good.
it so much.
Then there's like some session drummers that worked with like the Bee Gees and Steely Dan. So of course, you know, we're gonna bend it a little bit. And,
I love theme days. It's so nice to get off the normal playlist and just spice it up with your own.
What a random thing, like Steve Day. Okay.
Was there no precipice for it? It was just like, hey, we're gonna do Steve Day.
The Blades have a photographer named
Steve Hiscock.
Steve Hiscock.
Yes!
Yeah. He's celebrating 20 years with the team.
Great
so we
dude.
thought,
Yes,
hey,
I saw
let's
that.
jump on board. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and again, one of the nicest dudes ever. When I worked at SaskTel Center for a bit there, I got to meet him, and very nice guy.
All right.
Very nice guy.
And
Steve
then, Steve Day, going to be a ton of fun tomorrow. I'm on holidays tomorrow, so.
Well earned, by the way. Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, heading out to Alberta to visit some family, and then we're kicking right back off next week. Our buddies over at Green Wing.
Yeah.
Very excited. They are opening for Sebastian Bach at the Coors Event Center. And for some reason, I never connected the dots. I was chatting with a couple of guys from the band last night's Hometown Rock, and he's part Canadian. He's half Canadian, half American, which they then explained, well, obviously, he was on Trailer Park Boys. Like, that would make sense.
Huge.
Like,
one of the greatest lines of all time in the history of Trailer Park Boys, when they're at the train convention in Maine, And Sebastian comes out to the boys who are camping in the parking lot, and that's just them staying in Ricky's car. And they have no weed, so Ricky busts open the dashboard, literally punches through it and tears it open, and finds a bunch of old joints, and he pulls out a roach, and it's got a bumblebee hanging on it. And Sebastian Bach takes it and looks at Ricky, goes, "What is this? Effing honey oil?" And then he hits it, he goes, "Oh my God, I haven't had weed this good since '86 when I was touring with the Scorpions." And then he says, "Hello, California, we are Scorpions, rocking like a hurricane." And then his manager stops him, like, "What the F, man?" He's like, "Dude, we're in a parking lot at a train convention. Like, chill out." It's one of the best lines. Sebastian Bach was one of the best parts of that. And another connection is our friends in One Bad Son also toured and opened for Sebastian Bach.
Very
So he
cool.
likes to bring these Canadian boys up, which is the thing.
Yeah, and of course, he was lead singer of Skid Row for a while. Like, he's been there, done that, big name. So that's pretty exciting.
And one of the biggest voices ever in the history of music. People
yeah.
used to say that he would sing not facing the crowd so people couldn't tell how he would hit notes. Obviously an urban legend, but that lets you know how good of a voice he has. Right? Like, could you imagine a guy just facing the back of the stage for a whole show?
It's kind of like The Voice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You can't see how I hit these notes. It's incredible. So that's really good news for them. Anyone else we got to catch up on next week?
We got some great shows coming up. October 19th, there's a lot going on. Am I going to remember who that is?
October 18th, we got Pennywise and Dropkick.
Oh, yeah, that's exciting. There's a little after party over at Winston's English Pub and Grill, who sponsors Hometown Rock, so I'll give them
Hell
a love.
yeah. Shout out to Chris Beavis and the team over there. Love them.
Yes. And then there is this is going to drive me nuts. There's a show on the 19th. I want to say...
Come on.
Oh, no, I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to make a mistake. So we're going to leave it there. I'll be back before the 19th. That's a long
Perfect.
ways away. It's my
That's-
mom's birthday on the 19th. That's all I can think of. So
Good for you. That's a good son move.
Yeah.
And as well, that allows me to trick you into coming back in again next week.
yeah.
Perfect.
We'll eat more banh mi.
Yes. I'm so proud of you.
I'm going to go have a nap in my office later.
It's that gym. What do you think the odds are of you hitting the gym now?
I'm going to go to the gym. I'm just not going to do anything that bounces me around. Maybe do leg day or something so I can sit.
Stretch day. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Uglykid Joel. Check him out every night, 8 p.m. on Hometown Rock, as well on the weekends, as he does a lot of awesome voice tracking, and you will see him at every show because he is everywhere. Brother,
Just realized
Thank you
that
so much.
I think I chose the wrong shirt and jacket combination. They kind of look the same color.
I always appreciate when you talk fashion with me.
This is gray. This is blue.
I thought you looked good. I literally commented on how good you look, so that just says a lot.
Looking at the screen, I'm like, oh crap, those are the same color. Yeah.
It's so good. Dude, thanks again. Have fun at the workout. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. Uglykid Joel, the best in the biz. Yeah. Rhino gear. That's what we're all about here, right? The Rhino gear going. Shout out to the Rhinos. This is the OG Rhino hat right there. And our warm-up shirts. Absolutely fantastic stuff. LB, why don't we go ahead and get some Frankie's Fingers so we can get out of here? Woo! A lot of guests today. I love these full shows. They're always so much fun. To Asher, our newest member of the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. Thank you, brother. As Slice by Slice with Asher is now live. You can check it at dufferinave.com. Head to the YouTube page, all that good stuff. And we'll get it out on the socials as well. Good serve up, LB. Beautifully done. You'll also notice every day we get a little more spookier here on the set. We've got little things that are starting to happen, so keep an eye on those. Maybe put some Easter eggs out there. Maybe get surprises away with all this cool stuff that the set's taking on as we get closer to Halloween. To CTV's Matt Young, thank you as always. Not just the video game guy around here, getting all those consoles and controllers and all the other stuff that goes along with video games fixed up and to continue working for you. He's also doing play-by-play and color for all these different things going on. He's Mr. Everything around here. So we always appreciate when he gives us a couple minutes every Thursday, so thank you to you. As well, Kroker. What more can you say about Kroker? Another guy who is everywhere. So kind of him to let us know what it's like to go on Family Feud. We have to wait for a long, long time to see how he did, but something tells me it was pretty good for the Kroker family. So to Clayton, thank you for giving us a couple minutes and talking some football as well, as we finally know someone who was on Family Feud. Good to get the inside track on that. And to the great Uglykid Joel for stopping by as he gets us updated on everything going on. Do not forget, tomorrow, 3 Hall Public House is the Unplugged Open Mic Night from 6 to 9 p.m. Bringing music back to Broadway is what's going on. And then the Matt Remenda Ensemble on Saturday night, taking over 3 Hall, and they'll play a nice show there for you. Tomorrow would be the Big Friday extravaganza that we love to do. I'm sure Uncle Brando will be by, as well Network Ryan will be here. Hardcore will be here from the Past Our Bedtime podcast. So we'll check in with her and see how things are going as we roll into the weekend. And that's Thanksgiving. So be sure to get ready for that, as we will have Monday off. I just told LB, so he's going to be make sure all the scheduling stuff for Monday is taken care of, and we'll have one extra day to recover from all the delicious food that we're going to be eating. Remember, karma's very, very real, all right? Do good things, they'll start happening to you. I promise you. Have a great rest of your Thursday.